What is the most horrible thing you caught a classmate doing in school? Get a hand job in class. He got caught and said he was fapping to save the girl from getting in trouble and he got suspended. This was in 8th grade. That actually sounds like a nice guy. A bit of an idiot, but a good guy. Chivalry is not dead. That hand job got turned into a blow job that weekend. After being denied permission to go to the restroom, some guy pissed into a bottle and left it on his desk. He told his teacher it was Gatorade and asked her if she wanted some. I remember I caught a girl giving a boy a blowjob in the science lab closet. We were in 6th grade. Something Undertaker threw mankind off a cage in 98. Yes, In a school in my neighborhood, jogging pants are banned because students would whip it out and start fapping during classes in these pants. All together now. Stroke. Harder. We had a spoiled donglord in my grade 9 class. We went on a field trip to a marine biology center. We were messing around, and he grabbed a starfish out of a live tank, held it to his shirt, turned to the girl he liked and said, "Hey, I'm a sheriff." What he didn't know was that when starfish feel they are going to die, they release all their jizz in an attempt to impregnate another random starfish. He proceeded to get a load all over his it and yelled he peed on me. Our teacher had a wonderful time telling him it was not urine, but starfish cum. We forever called him Spummy, and when he cried to her teacher about the name, she told him to get used to it, as it was going to stick. I loved that teacher. Forgive any spelling, this is from my phone. Spermy, as it was going to stick. Kid jerked off in 8th grade math class. And finished. In class. He had 2 empty seats around, and was actually being pretty stealthy, until the moment of ecstasy when he began breathing real heavy. A girl noticed about 10 seconds before he finished, and she gave a very loud, startled, "What are you doing?" He was at the point of no return though, and just blew his load with his hands down his pants. He freaked out the minute he finished and the teacher started screaming at him. He ran from the room, but he left some cum on the door handle as he left. Obviously, he never lived it down. Every time I see the people don't forget thing from Superbad, I think of him. In college I would leave in the middle of class, go to the bathroom, and jerk off to something that I found on my smartphone. I remember coming back to class and 3 or 4 people were looking at me, as if they knew what I just did. I remember coming back to class and 3 or 4 people were looking at me, as if they knew what I just did. That's because they did. It doesn't help when he's supposed to be teaching class and he leaves his mic on. You know how bathroom stalls have those awkward cracks you can see through? I walked into the bathroom one day in school to see a guy pissing through that crack, attempting to spray the kid who was pooping and had nowhere to run. I have no idea why. I just turned around and left. I have no idea why. I just turned around and left. That was definitely the good decision. But honestly the only right thing to do would be to whip it out and piss on that pisser. Only a coward pees on a defenseless man. A strong and selfless man would have got into a literal pissing match with this dude. I wouldn't expect that from everyone, though. In 6th grade I caught a special needs kid telling on me for being in a fist fight. I was beating up a kid who had been picking on the special needs kid. One time I walked in on a good friend, teammate eating in the locker room showers. Then he kicked the poop against the wall and yelled poo poo. At the moment it was horrifying, but it made for a great story afterwards. This entire scenario leaves more questions than it answers. Dude, in my US Navy boot camp class, you had to take like Navy history classes etc. Found out in a letter that his girlfriend had left him. Took off running right as we were going into class. Leapt onto a 3rd floor rail ledge thing. It was San Diego and classes all had outside entrances, no inside hallways. And then proceeded to do a swan dive onto the concrete 30 feet below with his freaking hands held behind his back. Dead instantly. Saw him dive, but only heard him land. We were immediately pushed inside by company commanders and then locked down. When we got to head back to the barracks a little while later, they were using a fire hose to try to wash all the blood away. Very disturbing to 18-year-old me. Morbid question. Did you hear a scream? I've heard that when people jump, As opposed to being intoxicated and falling off a balcony, they pretty much always scream, as if regretting it. But if this guy straight up swan dived off it and held his hands behind his back, he seems pretty committed. This itchy girl I sat next to in 6th grade math did a silent fart just as I was bending down to get a calculator out of my backpack, which put me in the hit zone. Not that disturbing, but it was honestly the nuclear bomb of all farts. I started choking on the fumes and the entire class stopped the lesson to see if I was okay. I finally caught my breath, told the teacher I had asthma, not true, and was sent down to the nurse's office. I got a nap for the rest of the school day and the girl was always nice to me after that. Caught a girl trying to hang herself in a stairway. That girl went on to become a peenster. My school had a kid try to kill himself by jumping off the walkway overlooking the stairs. The awful thing was that kids were encouraging him to jump with the rationalization he wouldn't have died. He would have just broken his legs. High school is a terrible place. A girl at the school I went to last year jumped off the roof. She's fine, but she was a total itch that told a guy that if he broke up with her, she was gonna kill herself. He got with her, got tired of her, broke up, then. Yeah, When I was in primary school there was a girl who had very few friends and was a little odd. One day, whilst I was sitting next to her, she lifted her dress and stuck her pen in herself and then looked at me dead in the eye and started clicking the pen with fury. I never sat next to her after that. I was hoping for a we're married now and have 3 kids. I'm a female, and I'm pretty sure after seeing what she did made me very certain I like males. In high school history class, the teacher was a great prankster, but a bit of a nutcase and let us do basically whatever we wanted. One day a friend of mine took the teacher's coffee cup to the bathroom, came back with a coffee mixture and handed it to the teacher. My buddy even told him, I peed it that, and the teacher looks him dead in the eyes and enthusiastically says good, and drinks it. He probably knew once he'd tasted it, but he never let us know it. Just continued to sip it and look at my buddy and wink. Dominance was established. Not mine, but my sister's. She was sitting in class near this boy who was a little off. They were in a 6th grade, and to help combat the odor of hormones, the teacher had asked all students to keep a little personal stick of deodorant in their desks for after gym and recess. One day they're sitting in class and my sister looks over and this kid is eating the deodorant from the stick and smearing it on his face. The teacher notices and asks what he's doing. He looks up, white surrounding his lips, his face glistening with axe, and he explains, I'm trying to make friends. Did it work? Did he make friends? No one wants to talk to Dio boy. To be fair, I think he also tried to staple his hand to a desk a few years later, so the strange never ended. In HS. Girl riding the stick shift in her car and gets stuck, unable to remove herself from it. Had to be helped off by teachers. Also in HS. Male senior has fling with new female math teacher. She is fired for it, but they show up to prom together. Also in HS. Male student is suspended for gangster haircut. His mum shows up and shoots the principal 4 times, but he lived. Good times. In 7th grade, a classmate of mine had cheated on my best friend's math test, which was worth 1/3 of our grade in that class. The worst part is he actually tried to blame it on my friend who was about to get in serious trouble, because the teachers thought it was him. After him telling me this, I did something pretty ballsy. After class I went up to my math teacher and told him who really did it, but he still claimed that he knew exactly who it was. At this point I was so frustrated I quickly blurted out, why don't you make both students retake it and whoever gets the better score is the one who didn't cheat. He agreed and said that both of them would take it after school, so I decided I would wait for him so we could walk home together. He simply walked out an hour and a half later and gave me a hug saying, I don't know what I would do without you, dude. Saved my best friend from getting expelled. You're a good aunt. Well, maybe not caught in the sense that they didn't want to be seen, but during high school pay after my gym teacher refused to let anyone use the bathroom because the period just started and 15 minutes hasn't passed yet. Me and the whole class watched a kid stand up, drop his pants, and piss with his peanuts spinning in a helicopter-like motion all over the gym. Needless to say, class was cancelled and he was suspended. I didn't get my sides back for that whole week. In 4th grade we had a few foreign students. Being it was NY, it's not a big deal to see someone come late into the school year because they were from another country. This kid, let's call him Ahmed, just came to NY, had no English at all, but was a beast in math. During one math class he was already finished with one section of the Sims book while the other kids were palm sweaty from a few questions in. He sat there for some time and was really bored. Then he gets up, goes to the waste bin and proceeds to take off his pants and it's right into the waste bin. The teacher was so shocked she didn't even make a sound. He gets up, puts his pants back on and sits at his desk, as if nothing happened. The whole class is either disgusted or laughing hysterically. I of course fell out of my chair from laughter. The teacher started yelling at him, but he didn't speak any English, so she took him to the principal's office. Later when I went to give him the attendance for class I noticed he was there with his parents present already, and the mother tells the principal that Ahmed said if there was some sand around he wouldn't have covered up the smell by putting sand on it. I burst out laughing again. Ahmed seen me and smiled devilishly. The principal explains that there are facilities for which this act can be done without interrupting his classmates or alerting his teacher. His mum just says, "Look, my kid had to go. Why would you spend time walking around searching for a place to go do your business when you already have a container for trash right near him?" Ahmed was a chill kid and says in English the only word he learned that day, SS sorry. A few years later when he learned most of the English language I asked him about the event and he told me, "Oh, I was bored so I wanted to make a statement to America that my it's here to stay." What he meant was, my ass is here to stay. I like his version better. So do I. God bless Ahmed, wherever he is.